2017 or 16 Nissan Maxima SV. This will be similar to the other Nissan Maximas. We're going to be doing the rear brakes, pads and rotors, and then we're going to be doing the front too as well, pads and rotors. I'll put that in a separate video. First things first, make sure you put a block. I mean, you don't have to, but because it's front wheel drive, but put a block on the front wheel, both sides. Then jacking up point is going to be right there on the subframe. And then jack stand points, you can put them right there on that subframe right there, where those little holes are at, or you can put them where those bolts, or you can, yeah, just right there. So that's where we're gonna put them at, just that area, and then you can put them where those bolts are. And then same thing for the other side. You can put them on the bolts or where the hole is, and yeah. All right, so for the job, we're pretty much going to be needing a 19 millimeter, 14 millimeter. You can either use some pliers or a caliper press tool. Part number for the caliper tool is going to be 27111, and you can rent that at your local auto parts store. AutoZone's part number, that's it. So lug nuts are 21. The caliper itself is 14, and then the caliper bracket is 19. So we're going to go ahead and take off these bolts. So we're going to go ahead and take off these two 14 millimeters. So one right here, and then here's the second one. Those are guide pins. Make sure you remember which one. The one's going to have like a little rubber boot. So the rubber boot on mine is going to be up on top, and then the one without the rubber boot is going to be on bottom. Make sure you put these guys in a clean area. Then we'll go ahead and move this caliper. Now you can let this guy hang because it's not too heavy. So we'll let that guy hang. And then we're going to go ahead and take off the caliper bracket bolts. There's going to be one right here, and then here's the second one right there. So we're ready to take off our rotor. Now, you need to make sure that the emergency brake's not on, because if it is, then obviously the rotor won't come off. Now, if the rotor's on there pretty hard, get I use about a 4-pound hammer or a 5-pound hammer, and then I bang on these outer sides, or you can bang on the inner side too as well. And then we're gonna go ahead and take off this little rubber boot. You'll just push it from the inside out. So right here, you just come in from the inside and just push it right out with your thumb. Then we're going to go ahead and spin our wheel bearing. Make sure that's not bad. Everything seems good. So now we're going to start reversing the order. All right, so we're going to go ahead and transfer our rubber boot. So we're just going to push that guy right in. Just like that. Then we're going to go ahead and spray some brake cleaner on our rag. And then we're going to go ahead and clean up whatever excess grease that keeps the rotor from rusting. And we just want to wipe that off. We're going to do that on both sides. Bye, Mommy. Love you. So we're going to clean up both sides and then do the inner side too as well. So now we're going to go ahead and replace our hardware kit. The set that I bought came with two sets. One was actually smaller and then one was bigger. So the ones that I'm going to be using were the bigger set. So make sure you remember that, because I think you can mix them up. So we're just going to only be doing that. So you pull out the other one with your finger and then you push it in just like this with the little indentation right there. And then make sure you get this guy right in, everything. So just like that, and then we're gonna do that same thing for this piece. Just pull this right back. Now we're gonna go ahead and thread these in by hand. So we'll just start off the first thread. The same thing for the second one. Then right here, we're gonna go ahead and squeeze our guide down. We're gonna squeeze the piston itself. And so basically we're gonna be crimping right here, and then the caliper itself, the piston. So where you see how we're just gonna squeeze those two. Use very little force, make sure it fully sits in. Now if the boot sticks out a little bit, then basically you just kind of need to pry back the boot a little bit and release whatever air that's in the system. And then we'll go ahead and set that aside. Then we're gonna go ahead and lubricate our areas. So we're just gonna lubricate only our contact points, the ones that's gonna be moving so much. So which is gonna be our ends. Then when we're putting this on, now we need to make sure that the pin, the wear indicator, goes up on top. The reason is because the wheel is going to always be spinning this way first, and it's going to wear out this top piece first. So that will give us an indication. So we just go ahead and slide these right in, just like that. Nothing fancy to it. And then we're going to go ahead and put our caliper right over. And then when you're putting in the caliper, make sure you push these guys right in. And then this one too. We'll push that right in there. And then we'll just hold it in place. Then our caliper guide pins, we need to lubricate that. Be pretty generous. Because if they are not lubricated, well, you're going to have it seize and wear out. So remember, the one without the boot went on the bottom. We'll just thread that in a little bit. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and put it on our wheel. We're gonna go ahead and thread each lug nut in by hand. And then we're gonna start off from the bottom. Now we're just gonna slightly bolt it, because these guys have a top hat, and then they could hit against the rim, and then you'll damage the rim, and you could bend the lug nut. So make sure you do both, top and bottom, and then as soon as you do those, thread them in by hand all the way, then that'll center the rim. So now we're ready to tighten the bolt. So we're gonna go in a start pattern as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, so now we're in the car. We're gonna go ahead and pump up the brakes. So we're gonna push the push start in, push start, or if you have the key ignition. So we're just gonna slightly tap on the brakes. Make sure that the car's fully on. And then we're gonna go ahead and pump up the brake pedals until it gets nice and hard. So now we're pretty much nice and hard. And then we're all said and done. If this video helped you out, give it a thumbs up, comment down below if you have any questions, and hit that subscribe button for more upcoming videos in the future. And thanks for watching.